If there has been one thing that's become apparent to me over almost the last month, much of it in enforced idleness which has provided plenty of time to do nothing, it's that the World Cup is the greatest sports spectacle on earth. And I'm not sure the competition is remotely close. Soccer fans, like this crew of England supporters at the Dog and Bear on Queen Street West, have turned Doug Smith into a World Cup fan. Steve Russell, Toronto Star: I used to hold the Olympics up as the gold standard for sports binging and the celebration of athletic achievement and wonderful stories, and I do still think the games themselves are tremendous. But the World Cup, it's just better. And this one that's going to conclude later this week: England over Belgium in the final. If you to get a little wager done, Croatia over France for third, might have been the best ever. Before we go any further, this disclaimer: I know FIFA and the IOC are evil organizations at the top. There can be no doubt at the historical correctness of that statement. That said, I've always tried to separate the governing bodies from the prowess of the athletes, and, so far, I've been successful. Article continued below. There are a couple of reasons why I think the World Cup goes top of the table by a wide margin when global sports are concerned. Except for the final day of the first round, there's never more than one game on at any time, and the laser-like focus feeds the needs and desire of fans of the sport rather than those who support only one specific country. In the same way, it's long but it's not too long. There have been breaks of late to let spectators catch their breath. Even the first round and early knockout stages encompass a few hours a day of action rather than a dozen or more. But the main reason, and why I, basically a soccer neophyte with no true and long-lasting rooting interest, it is engrossed every 4 years, is because of the passion of the fans. It's amazing. I've been able to sit on a stool for a large number of afternoons of late, and it's crazy to see the different fans of the different nations come storming in, screaming and cheering and wearing the colors of their countries. There are the crazy guys from Portugal who've been around since Euro 2016 to have fun, make noise and celebrate like few groups I know. Article continued below. There was a huge group of Japanese fans for their games. Croatia is a huge draw, as were Germany and England and Iceland and everywhere in between. The Saturday afternoon when I was sitting there and turned around to see an entire wedding party invading the bar was as incredible a sports fan moment as I've ever experienced. I'm talking bride in her gown, groom all tucked up, bridesmaids and groomsmen dressed to the nines, all sitting around the extended U-shaped part of the bar watching Uruguay-Portugal because the bride was Portuguese and the groom Uruguayan, and what the hell else would you do between ceremony and reception? It was amazing fun. But you know what the very, very best part of watching this unfold somewhat dispassionately is? Not one time in any day that I sat and watched did I see one little bit of animosity between fans. No taunting, no screaming in the face of others, no outward looks of disdain or superiority or anything. No arguments, certainly no fights, and more communal celebration of good plays rather than bitterness about losses. It's been impressive to witness firsthand, fans of every level of seriousness cheering for something rather than against someone. Little gets the passions of fans racing more than patriotic fervor, but throughout this World Cup, in my experience, the sportsmanship level has been off the chart good. And since I'm all for cheering for a team, country, athlete rather than worrying about what someone else is doing, it's been refreshing. Okay, I have no idea what days I'll be around the rest of the week. I have a feeling we'll leave that up to news developments unless the tall foreheads have things in mind, so why don't we plan now on some weekend mailbag? Or maybe the start of next week if you're a bit slow off the mark. Dig deep in the crevices of your minds, click on ask.thestar.ca and ask anything you like. You'll be glad you did. Alright, I feel compelled to say this since so many friends and colleagues are off to or already in Las Vegas for the interminable Summer League season. I have nothing against Summer League per se, or even Vegas for that matter, although it'll be a frosty day in Hades before I watch one closely or step in another, to tell you the truth. But I feel confident still that while Summer League doesn't tell you who can play, it certainly can tell you who can't, and I think that should be foremost in everyone's mind. Now, it's changed a little bit with the proliferation of teams in Vegas, but it's still basically a summer TV show where the majority of the real work is done in practice gyms where veteran NBAers join their young teammates for a week or so of work. I know Tanas if you will watch games on TV and that's all well and good, but please don't put too much stock in what you're seeing. And I hope my buddies out there can handle the 40-plus heat they'll be dealing with for as long as they're in town.